Love is all that exists. Love is the universal communication. It is the energy that has created the universe and is keeping it going. God is love. Emmanuel's book, A Manual for Living Comfortably in the Cosmos, is by far my favorite channeled book. It is a treasure. I highly recommend it. It is written by Rodegast and Judith Stanton. It's one of those books where you can just flip open to a page, read something, and be moved, so moved by the wisdom it shares. This book has helped me tremendously throughout my life whenever I was unsure, in doubt, or sad, or whenever I deeply questioned the purpose of it all. Here are some of my favorite quotes. And just by listening to these, it really can help raise your vibration and change your mood. The heart is an unerring compass within each of you. The heart knows the soul better than the mind does. Unless your mind is in service of the heart, it becomes a warped and twisted master. One cannot surrender completely to anything but God. In the act of surrender, there can be no forcing. Willing a release makes the release tighter because it does not yield to will, it yields to yielding. By the act of surrender, you realize the absolute control you have over your life. Surrender is a choice, an absolute personal choice. Surrender can be proclaimed as the most selfish act because it leads to total fulfillment. The final lesson for each soul is the total surrender to the will of God manifested in your own heart. The only path that is right for you is the one that is already designed within you. To find this path, you have to hear your own heart. While the small mind in its fear is rigid and controlling, the deeper part of you will begin to whisper the truth of your eternal safety and your oneness with God. So listen to your heart. This is where your light is and your truth. These last three quotes deal with surrender and the heart, and moving from the mind to the heart. This is crucial advice we hear again and again from channeled texts and from spiritual masters. The heart is the house of God. The heart is the macrocosm within the microcosm. When we are told to know thyself, to look within, it's really to look within our hearts. And like how these quotes share, the mind tends to mislead us. It's small, rigid, and fear-based mostly. It tries to control. When we surrender from that state into the heart, we realize that we are fully loved by the Creator, by the Source, by the creative intelligence that's within everything. Look within your heart if you want to realize what you truly are, if you want to realize what everything truly is. The final lesson for each soul is to surrender to the will within your heart, to God's will that is manifested within your heart. What else is there to say? It really sums it all up very nicely in that one line. The state of grace needs the recipient in order to be complete. You are held in the hand of God and are totally loved. And when that love can be received, the circuit is completed. This is another idea we see often in channeled books. We need to be in a state of receptivity, of surrender, of meekness, of humility, of humbleness, so that we're open to receive this love. All we must do is let all the walls fall that we have built in defense against love, and it will come rushing. We need to open up, surrender, and receive it. In your culture, it is thought that the mind must lead and the heart must follow, suspected of irrationality. I wish to reverse this misconception and to give you back your heart, your soul energy, your spontaneity and love of life. Thought is a tool to get you to the gate. Then you must leave your tools behind. Again, we see this idea of moving from the mind to the heart, surrendering to the heart's energy, to the heart's will. The natural state of the heart is open. How do I touch God within? How do I hear the spirits that are with me? How do I learn to love? How do I grow to become who I am? By ceasing to be who you are not. There is not a heart that exists in your human world that, if it were assured of safety, would not open instantly. It is all an issue of fear. You can create for yourself a garden of bliss if you believe in it, and you can create for yourself intolerable suffering if you believe that it is necessary. What is this quote saying? It's saying that you create your reality, right? That you do this all into yourself. You're never really the victim because everything that happens is because of your own beliefs, because it is your dream. You're within your own dream. So you create the so-called suffering. You create the experiences in your life. And of course, it's done mostly unconsciously. Let us then relinquish memory and allow experience to flow. There is nothing to cling to. There is no necessity to remember anything, but only to be, and that requires absolute faith. For in beingness, nothing is in control. There is only isness, which is the absolute safety of God. This quote reminds me of the power of now, the idea of living fully in the moment, not relying on history, on memories, not projecting yourself into the future, but living fully in the present moment, which requires faith. It requires a certain innocence. It requires openness and a childlike state of wonder and joy and peace. As you accept, not blindingly, not uncaringly, but with an ever-deepening awareness, those circumstances involved in human existence, you will more and more be reflecting your own light. There will come a day, regardless of what is transpiring in the human community, you will regard it as a blaze of light, and you will be free. This is the same idea of seeing with the eyes of Christ, seeing everything as one, regardless of how it is presented to you. Regardless of how it is expressed, you recognize the source of everything as God, as the love light, and you see that, no matter what's happening. You recognize and acknowledge the unity, the one in all things. There is nothing but love. Don't let the masks and postures fool you. This is one of my favorite quotes of all spiritual texts. It's that idea of seeing with the eyes of Christ, right? Seeing everything as one and true forgiveness. Don't let the outer appearances fool you. Don't let the masks and postures fool you. It is all really love. Regardless of how that love may be treating you in that moment, regardless of what is happening, regardless of how horrifying it may seem, it is really all love. And it may be love scared. It may be love seeking love. It may be love angry because it feels alone. It feels separate from the oneness. But really, it is all love. And I also share my favorite quotes from Emmanuel's book too. You can check that out here. Thank you.